Okay, next up we're going to grab my markers. We're going to review some problems at the beginning of the propositional logic unit. So this is just translating compound propositions, which are propositions that contain multiple propositions within them, and we're going to be using the logical operators from propositional logic. So negation, conjunction, disjunction, conditional, biconditional. And so to translate each of these, we're just going to use a capital letter to represent each of the smaller propositions within the compound proposition. And then we're going to connect them using the logical operators. So first off, let's go ahead and identify each of the simple propositions within the compound proposition. So we have, the first statement, if I eat too much salad, then I will get sick. We have two simple propositions within that compound proposition. I eat too much salad, I will get sick. So let's represent this with one capital letter T for too much salad, S for I will get sick. So those are the two simple propositions, and we have to combine them using our logical operators. And you can see that this is an if-then statement. That's a conditional, which is the arrow. So this is going to be, simply put, if T, then S. So we have T, arrow, S. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. There's two simple propositions in this one too. The Boston Red Sox will win the pennant. So I can't remember what letter I used there. Let's go ahead and represent that with a B for Boston Red Sox. Or I will eat my hat. I believe I represented that with an H. So we have two simple propositions within the one compound proposition. B for Boston Red Sox will win the pennant. H for I will eat my hat. And this is an either or. So just look outside of those propositions to see how they're connected. So an or is the disjunction, the wedge. So we have B or H. So the V or the wedge represents a disjunction. That's an either or statement. We have Boston Red Sox will win the pennant, or I will eat my hat. So let's move on to the next one. This is problem 17 from homework number 24. So we have, it is not the case. That's a negation. We'll address that later. Let's do the two simple propositions first. So this one's a little trickier because they're not as clearly separated grammatically as the first two examples that we did. So Doug's father and grandfather were both bankers is actually making two different claims or two separate propositions. One is saying that Doug's father was a banker, but there's another statement that's saying that Doug's grandfather was a banker. So you kind of have to look at it closely. When there's an and like that within your proposition, it's combining two propositions. So let's represent just this part first. So Doug's father was a banker. We'll represent that with F. And since we have an and, that's a conjunction. Which actually, sorry. We're actually using the ampersand because we're on digital right now. So Doug's father was a banker. We represent with F. The conjunction was, which is the ampersand, is the and. So the second expression is Doug's grandfather was a banker. So we'll just call that G. And then we have to do this. It is not the case that. This is a negation, but it's negating both of the propositions together. So it's neither one individually. So we're going to have to use parentheses to separate out that these two go together as simple propositions connected by the conjunction, and then the negation, the tilde, goes out in front of the parenthetical. So let's go ahead and do the last one. If it rains heavily tomorrow, then the picnic will be ruined and the river will flood. So we actually have three simple propositions within this compound proposition. So we're going to have three terms. So let's go ahead. Sorry, we represented this with an F and a G. Let's put that up. So it rains heavily tomorrow is one simple proposition. The picnic will be ruined is another simple proposition. And the river will flood. Let me look at which letters I used here. H, P, and F. So this one for heavily tomorrow, it rains heavily tomorrow, we'll represent with an H. The picnic will be ruined, we'll represent that with a P. And the river will flood, we'll represent that with an F. So we'll notice first that this is an if-then statement. So if it rains heavily tomorrow, then something will happen. We'll represent that with H and then an arrow. But you'll notice that this second part has two different simple propositions combined by a conjunction, the word and. So it's saying that the picnic will be ruined and the river will flood. But both of those are combined, and that's both part of the consequent to this antecedent. So we have to combine P and H. The way we do that, P ampersand H, or sorry, F. So we have H, arrow, parentheses, P and F, and parentheses.